Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
Spread is 6.
No, it isn't.
6.5,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's a
Well,
lot
hold
of
on a minute. Yeah,
points.
there's not. Purdue's the underdog in this game.
Six and a
Yes.
half.
But I don't think that they're going to come into this saying that we need to change what they do. I think they're going to. I think they're going to do what they do. I think they're going to do what they do. So
Talking about who, Rob?
Purdue, I think they're going to do
Well,
what they do.
They have to because they don't play any other way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like that's how they play, and they should. And they have the most dominant guy in college basketball, and he's going to play that way. They're not running their offense through Klingit as much as Edey. Edey's going to touch it 75% of the time down the floor.
How do you think that matchup works? Like, how do you envision that matchup? Because neither guy is going to get help early.
It depend on the
They're gonna
officials.
play each other one-on-one. Right, it is going to depend on the officials a lot.
It doesn't appeal because Zach Edey doesn't foul, so it doesn't matter. He's going to do what he does. So
Can Klingon handle Edey defensively?
can Klingon score on Edey?
No, not really.
And
Not
I
really.
think that's it. And he's not going to foul. So again, for perimeter guys, if they're not shooting it well, if UConn isn't shooting it well, I've said this all year, man. He and NC State struggled inside. He dictates the paint on both ends of the floor, and I think people throw out it's not his stats. It's now maybe they can clean up the glass and win, but I just think that it's going to be a lot closer than people think, and I think
I actually
Zach
agree.
Edey wins the matchup production wise because that's what he does. The question I have is with the guard play, and they're still. Are they going to? Is this the beginning of them starting to knock down shots and start knocking down threes? Because this was the best three-point shooting game that they had, and early on it didn't look like that. They didn't come out the gate shooting the well.
I think they will. There's three things. I've said this all year long. If you want to beat UConn, there's three things that you have to do. One, you got to get the big fella in foul trouble. You got to find a way to get Donovan Klingon to the bench. And as good as Samson Johnson was tonight, if you can get Samson Johnson playing 20 minutes, that is a win for your basketball team. Two, you got to have an outlier three-point shooting night. You got to do what Seton Hall did, or what Creighton did, go 15 for 29. You got to do what Kansas did, go 9 for 14.
But none
you
of
got
them,
to do what
Rob,
Alabama did in the
difference,
first
though,
half.
Rob, is that none of them had Klingon. Edey,
Well, no. So
and that's the way he plays.
Yeah.
He fouls your guys out.
Well, so what I was going to say is that, and then you can't let them just kind of run their stuff. And there's two things that I think Purdue is going to be able to do that really matches up well with UConn. One, you got the best foul drawer in the history of the sport of college basketball.
Right now, yeah.
Right? Donovan Klingon is going to have to be very, very disciplined in terms of not fouling, not jumping for pump fakes, not going with the two arms right there. If you give up some light, like he's going to get 20. You can't go into this thinking, I need to shut him out. You need to go into it thinking, I need to make him work for every point that he gets, and I can't put him on the foul line, right? They're going to be very good at doing that, and I think Edey's presence is going to be enough to mess up what they want to run offensively because you don't have that outlet valve to throw it to Klingon in the post. They're going to, my guess is they pull Klingon away from the basket. They let him kind of be the guy that sets those screens. You get those zoom actions. You get those DHOs. You let them run off of Klingon, and the one thing he's done really well is start being able to pick out passes.
Rob, Jeff, you did report this. The sources told the Field of 68 the national title game officials are Jeff Anderson, Roger Ayers, and Terry Oglesby.
Yeah, three of the best.
Not
Did they let him
Terrence,
play?
Terry.
I'm glad that at least one TO made it to the Final Four this year.
Thank you, Rob. Jeff, what do you make of that crew?
Really good. I mean, really good. We're going to get some high stepping, which is nice, right? Always good to see some high stepping.
Anderson and Hurley have some history,
They
but
do
they
have
buried
some
the
history.
hatchet.
They've buried it. They've been good all year. And he actually officiated their national semifinal game last year. So I think it is going to be interesting to see if they let him play. And again, I just want to see. You're right. Like Klingon's not really a big weapon offensively, but can, as Rob says on the defensive end, the Great Wall of Bristol, can he make life? How difficult can he make life for Zach Edey? Because Zach Edey's never seen anything like him. You don't think so? You don't think it's going to be hard for him? For Edey.
I don't know how you bother a guy shot at 7'5", that's shooting the hook.
He's just never. He's used to shooting over guys that are like 6'9". I mean, today, like Middlebrooks, right? How tall is Ben Middlebrooks?
Well, look, once Zach Edey gets the ball where he needs to be, it's the issue is not. If you want to stop Zach Edey, you have to make him catch it further away from the basket, or take away the entry past it. Like, you have to shut off the water to him. Once he's got it, he's gonna get his.
You can't. I don't
Like,
think
it's
you
gonna
I don't
happen.
think you can do that though, because it's not just to them throwing it in the post. They're not just going to come down and throw it inside. They do it in different ways. So if that's not working and you push them off, then they come with their dribble handoffs, and then the big, you got the help.
Yep.
And then he rolls, and if they don't get the lob, then he gets the seal. They get to
Yeah.
go back and get the seal. So he's gonna get the ball.
Yes.
What is interesting is that UConn is that there's nobody that compares to Zach Edey. There's no one. UConn does have the experience of Klingon meeting someone that's at his size, and ironically enough, that team beat them once and actually beat them
Kalkbrenner.
soundly in Ryan
Kalkbrenner.
Kalkbrenner and Creighton. So that's interesting in this game. I think the other thing that's of interest, if you turn this to the lead guards, Braden Smith tonight was bad.
Yeah.
He had a bad game, about as bad of a performance as he's had. Would expect that he's going to respond from that.
I would think.
But Tristan Newton has now had 2 games in a row where he has not been particularly good. Tonight he was 3 of 9 from 3. He was searching for a shot. How either one of those responds is going to be really interesting on Monday night.
Yeah, I think that this matchup is going to be a little bit more beneficial for him because
For who?
For Tristan Newton, because if you look at Purdue's guards, where Tristan kind of thrives is being able to overpower. But no one realizes that. Like, the dude's a legit 6'5". Like, he's big. Yeah. And he's going to be guarded by Fletcher Lawyer, who looks like he doesn't even know where the weight room is at the Purdue University, right?
Fletcher Lawyer's a quality defender.
He's a good defender, but the issue is, like, Tristan can overpower guys that aren't going to be as big and as physical. The thing with Mark Spears is, like, you're not overpowering him. He's low, he's compact, he's got leverage. You're not going to be able to just bully your way to the basket. He can do that against Braden Smith. I think he can do that against Fletcher Lawyer. Maybe not Lance Jones. I would expect Lance Jones to be on him. On the flip side, I'm worried about this matchup for Braden Smith because I think the UConn's size and athleticism in their backcourt, whether it's Hassan Diarra on him or Steph Castle on him, it's going to be those two for most of the game. I think it's going to give him a lot of problems.
I like what you said. I agree with you on what you said about Stephon Castle and Lance Jones in terms of who's going to guard who and that Castle could be moved on to Smith. But to RC's point, who were the beneficiaries tonight based on different defensive assignments? Jeff, Alabama was daring Castle to shoot. He took that personally.
Sure.
And does Purdue win this game tonight without Lance Jones?
But I would listen to me.
You do the same thing?
You make him. Yeah, you make him have to make shots. And if he makes a couple, then you go out and guard him. Here's the guy that we're not talking about. Here's the guy that we're not talking about that I think actually could be the X factor on Monday night, Mason Gillis. I actually think he could be the X factor because he's that kind of 4 who could step out. He can make shots. He shot it at a high clip this year. I don't think you're going to play Trey Kaufman-Wren a whole lot. You may see him here and there, but the matchup to me for Mason Gillis, and again, if he can make those shots consistently, which he's done, he's a game changer.
RC, do you double Edey if you're UConn?
Why
No.
would you? You can't to
No.
start.
No.
You let him go one-on-one.
I think you got to see it, but I do think you got to give help because what we know is that he's fouled out. He gives you problems. He fouls your big guys out. I think Klingon is too valuable, and I do think you got to monitor that. If he picks up one, you saw that with State tonight.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Burns gets one quick when they sub him out. So I think
Hurley did that with Klingon. He got one
quickly
quick, pulled him out
Klingon
of
gets
before
that
the
first foul. Then you got to come out. You got to sub him out. So you got to monitor that, and I think that'll be big. They don't pressure as much. UConn's a really good defensive team, but they don't pressure as much as NC State does, and that's why I say I think it's a little bit different. They're physical in the half court, but I think if you allow the Purdue guards to get across half court and get into their stuff, I think they can be more effective than they were tonight. I said it before the game. I think they'll respond. I just think the reason NC State is here is that those guards, they crawl up in you, man, and I'm not surprised. And you saw that today, and that was part of the reason why Smith struggled.
You have two teams, not just KenPom 1 and 2, but they both have top 10 offense and top 10 defense. This is the heavyweight of all heavyweight matchups, and this is interesting. The spread for last year's national championship game was 7.5. If you all feel disrespectful here, disrespected for Purdue that it's 6.5.
I don't get it. That is
Why?
I assume that spread will come down. I don't think it's going to end up at 6.5. I bet it ends up closer to 5.5.
You think this will be close?
I think a lot of people are going to take the points. Yes, and I think absolutely think it'll be close.
UConn's won 11 straight NCAA tournament games by at least 13 points.
The best month of the year is here, which is why you need to know that we are partnered with BetMGM. We'll be using BetMGM lines for making all of our picks and predictions, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use bonus code FIELD and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your hard-earned money to get it. This is what you have to do to make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using that bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You'll get up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the rest of the NCAA tournament. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boost, and the thing that I love the most, a nice little parlay boost, as well as a ridiculous array of prop bets for anything that you could possibly imagine betting on. From odds on getting to the Final Four to national championship futures, I'm calling it right now. BetMGM is the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app. Use that code FIELD and sign up today. And while I've got you, a quick request. The best way to support the Field of 68 content you get for free is to engage with us. Rate and review the pod in any podcast app. Like and share the YouTube videos that you enjoy. Tell your friends about us. It all helps in a world where the algorithm is king. And now, back to the show.